Morning, guys. William here with Patriot Containers. I still got this cough. Been taking antibiotics, but to be honest, I haven't. Sometimes with these bad cargo container companies, complaints come in constantly, and then they stop, and they just come back constantly. So, but me personally, for Patriot Containers and myself, I've been extremely busy to where all these phone calls are coming in at once, and I'm taking orders, and people are calling me back, and referrals, and people from YouTube. um, and that takes priority over anything. So I want to talk about something that doesn't exactly, it 100% applies to cargo container sellers, but it also applies to many other types of businesses, and I've noticed this. So let me give you a good example. When it comes to getting the best service for yourself, whether it's delivery or a product, or it's just almost about anything. One thing that I've noticed throughout the years, and I'm going to talk about drivers first so you get my point. If I have a driver that he has a truck and trailer at his house, and maybe he has one or two trucks, that person that works for himself will always be the most dependable, loyal, friendly person, because he doesn't work for a company, he works for himself. And if he doesn't do deliveries, how do I say this? If he doesn't do deliveries, it affects his income. So I always get the best drivers that work for themselves, that have just one or two trucks. Maybe a wife does the 20 footers, and maybe the husband does the 40 footers. Those types of smaller, self-employed people will always give you the best service. Now, sometimes I don't always have that available, and I have to reach out to a company that I've done business with many times, and they have a whole fleet of trucks. And there's the personal interaction isn't there, really. It's more like dealing with a business. And you're not going to get the better service with that type of company. I've just noticed that with drivers. When you're dealing with a driver that has his own truck and trailer, they're always the best to deal with. Well, it's kind of like the bigger the company is, the worse the service is. Well, analyzing that, it's the same thing with cargo container sellers. A lot of these sellers that you guys are talking to, and I ran into this yesterday with a guy, and he was like, yeah, I talked to this company, this company, this company. And I told him the whole complete story about each and every one of those companies. And he read off what the invoice said. And I was like, yeah, that's all false information. They're lying to you guys. They're quoting this, but they're going to deliver you this. And go look at all their complaints, and look them up. The evidence is there. You just didn't see it. So my point being is, these types of companies that you guys do talk to, they want to be the biggest, and with the most employees, the most online reputation, and they strive to be the biggest. And they're actually the worst companies to buy from, because they're going to totally screw you over. They have a system that doesn't benefit you, it benefits the company. It's a multi-level marketing scheme. Well, they how do I say this? These owners that I study, they are hiding behind their business, but they want their business to be the biggest and the best. Kind of like the Walmart. We're an all, like, we sell containers, we sell accessories, we're your one-stop shop, and we're the biggest. Blah blah blah. They're also the worst companies. So my point being is, I deal with many companies in this industry. The one thing that I've noticed is, the bigger the company, the worse service you get. So how do I say this without tooting my own horn? I don't have any employees. I am my business. I don't ever want to be I'm the biggest company in the world. I literally don't have any employees. I do everything. So therefore, you actually get the best service. Now, I also have drivers that do sell containers. They deliver my containers, and they only deliver my containers. And the reason why is they've told me, they go, look, we will only deliver your containers because we've never seen a company, once we send you an invoice, you pay it in under 60 seconds. And so in this industry, I've never, not once, ever bit the hand that feeds me. If you don't pay your drivers, they don't do your deliveries. If you don't pay the shipping lines, you can't buy containers. I need those people in order to run a business. So don't mess with them. Always take accountability. And how do I say this? My customers come number one, the shipping lines and the drivers are number two, and I'm always last. That's why I don't have a business that's based off of failure. Over the years, I've dealt with drivers that are like super scared, and I go, look, you've been delivering me for like 8 years. Have I ever shortchanged you a penny? No. Well, then don't treat me like I'm not going to do something. I'm a man of my word. But back to these drivers that sell containers. Yeah, the best drivers are the people that own their own trucks and trailers and do deliveries, and you're not reaching out to a company that has 50 trucks. And it's the same thing with container sellers. The bigger the company is, the shittier service that they provide. There are some mom and pop sellers that, when you're dealing with a mom and pop seller versus a company, the company has a system that's rigged against the buyer, but it's for the company. The mom and pop people, and I consider myself a mom and pop company, the smaller you are, the more better, or the more you care about your customers and you care about your image. There's just literally nobody for me to transfer you to. If I do something wrong, I have to step up and handle the situation correctly. The other companies don't do that. It's amazing to me that you can have a company with 100 employees and you can't do shit right. Like, you just fail at every level. The reason they fail at every level is you have too many people doing one job. They have leak departments, warranty departments, complaint departments, customer service departments, shipping departments, logistics departments. It's never ending with how many employees they have doing a one-person job. So, yeah, these companies are actually getting bigger and bigger with their name, but they're also the worst cargo container companies to buy from. It's a fact. Before COVID, you got to understand that me personally, every container that I sell, I can make. There's some sales where I make $200, and I'll give you a good example. I had a lady. Where is she? She's in Virginia. She just placed an order with me. She was wanting to buy a used container in good condition. That's what her husband wanted to buy. My profit was $600. But there was a container that I've been selling out of Norfolk, Virginia, that is amazing for the price. It just costs a little bit more. So if I was a greedy person, if I'm going to make $600 on a basic used container, I would take that order. But what I did is I ended up making her buy the better container, and I only made $300. But see, greed is going, okay, sell that lady that used container and make $600. Well, my greed isn't now. My greed is, why don't I make her buy the best container that money will buy her, the best deal? The best deal is never the cheapest container. It's always the best container at the right price. So I took a $600 profit and threw it away and made her buy the better container, and I made $300. Well, here's what's going to happen. I'm going to deliver that container, I believe, it's next week. I think it's next week on Tuesday. I'm going to deliver that next week on Tuesday. They're going to see the best, almost new container money will buy her. And then I will always get repeat business and referrals from that customer forever, up until there's just no more need. So yeah, my greed is kind of on the back end. If you do a good job, you deliver on the right day, you tell the truth, you do what's best for your customer, you're going to make more money on the back end. If you're only doing one-time sales and ripping people off like these bigger companies do to you guys, yes, you make sales, but you're making sales based off of lies and you're making sales based off of junk. This is why these companies that are the biggest companies that you think are the best, because they're pushing all the positives, but they're hiding all the negatives. And there's I think this is Wolf of Wall Street. He said, "Don't judge me on my accomplishments. Judge me on my failures." And that's, what's funny is all these big companies, they're going, check out our great 5-star reviews, our 5-star reviews. I truly believe that those companies actually pay overseas companies to write fake 5-star reviews. I've seen patterns of how it works. Once they get a negative review, they have got to push that negative review down. Well, me personally, you know what I tell people? Go try to find a complaint on my business. It doesn't exist. I'm the only company in America that literally has no complaints in 12 years from anybody. So judge me on my failures. And so, yeah, it's back to the point of this video is the bigger the companies are, no matter what, you always get the shittier service. And it applies in almost any industry. I probably back in the 70s and 80s, you had like little stores of family-owned businesses that actually cared about customers. And now what happens is you got Walmarts popping up, knocking all the little guys down. Um, I never, ever, ever want to grow into a big company where I have employees doing everything for me. Do I like doing this? I do have love for this, but I also have hate for this. I'll tell you why. I love making sales and making customers happy, but I hate what has happened to this industry with certain companies that are typical foreigners that come from other countries. They come to America and they start a business that's basically ripping off their buyers. I have to deal with that on a daily basis. I have to deal with the bullshit that they're saying to you guys to take your money and telling you all this stuff that's false that you want to hear, but then you want me to honor their shitty service. I can't do it. So, yeah, I've always said this, crossing over to the dark side. I thought about it many times. I started this business to tell the truth, deliver on the right day, and show up with the product that will make you happy. And that's what I've achieved in 12 years of basically zero complaints from anybody that's bought a container from me. I always say that. It sounds like a lie, but it's actually the truth. There's a difference of what I'm saying, though. Having zero complaints online, it is true. And if you ever find the one that I have on Google, she never bought a container from me. She was probably mean and nasty, and I was an asshole back, and she found out my business name. She also could have been a competitor leaving me a fake 5-star review. I catch competitors calling me all the time. And I can usually hear it in the tone. There's like a smart ass tone. They're asking certain questions, and then they call from blocked numbers or unknown numbers. But I have software where I can look up their phone number and then Google it, and it'll show me that they work for a competitor. But yeah, back to what I was saying, the difference of, yes, Patriot Containers has no online complaints in 12 years from anybody that's ever bought a container from me. That's a fact. That doesn't mean I'm not going to get one in the future. I can. But the difference is, yes, I have had unhappy customers. A good mom and pop company will run to that customer to fix it and be accountable, so you do what's best for that customer. These big companies that are the owners are hiding behind their minion employees, they don't have to deal with you. They can just pawn the problems off to the next department, next voicemail, and just never be accountable, because you've already signed their terms and conditions, which allows those companies to rip you guys off. So, and of course, if you watch my videos, I say the same shit constantly in every single video. My YouTube channel is based off of that one person that finds my videos and goes, wow, I get that guy's point. I'm going to call him. But mostly, I want my videos to help people to make the right decisions. I don't have to make a sale with these videos. I'm getting my voice out of my concerns of what I hate about this industry and what it's turned into, and with these Pinocchio rookie companies ripping you guys off and getting away with it. Well, now they're going to be held accountable, and I'm exposing how these companies do it. So yes, and to be honest, my videos I've noticed have there's one company that gets the most complaints I've ever seen almost on a daily basis. Almost every single day they get a complaint. Some of the other bigger companies, I think my videos have actually had an impact on them because they've never been called out. Well, I'm doing it and I'm exposing every little thing of how they rip off their customers. It's disgusting and I'm sick and tired of it. Um, and then, yeah, it is nice when you guys find my YouTube channel. They're like, hey, I watched your videos. I want to buy a container. And typically, like 98% of the time, everybody that watches my videos buys a brand new container. I don't know what video you saw, but yeah, I highly advise everybody to buy new containers. I've thought about just switching my business. I used to sell junk, good, and new. But it wasn't because I wanted to sell junk. It's because people call and they're like, no, I don't care about how it looks. And I go, well, I don't think you should buy that. I think you should buy this. No, 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 I promise I won't complain. And then they complain. So along about 9 years ago, I decided I can't change who calls me, but I can change my business. It's my business. I can run it however I want. I'm not selling junk anymore. So I haven't sold junky containers in 9 years. I sell good used and good new. But I'm still in this category of being a part of all these scams and Pinocchio rookie multi-level marketing companies. I don't want to be near them. They're disgusting companies that should never be proud of what they do. In fact, I think if an attorney general actually dove into what these companies do to their customers, they would be shut down. I don't believe that what they're doing is legal. I believe that this industry is not regulated and nobody's doing anything about it, so they can just get away with it. And my videos have never been around. I'm the only one on YouTube doing this. But yeah, how do I distance myself from them completely? Well, don't sell used at all and only sell new. I haven't crossed that point yet, but I'm getting there because a lot of my YouTube viewers and people that call me always buying new, 98% of the time. Right now, currently, I believe new containers are the cheapest I've ever seen them in 14 years. When I say 14 years, I used to work for bad companies. I know exactly why these companies suck because I used to work for companies like that, and I watched how bad they were, and it forced me to walk out and start a business to do the right thing. So anyways, guys, that's my Wednesday rant. Is it Wednesday? I don't even know. Hold on. It's the 8th. Yeah, it's Wednesday. So anyways, guys, have a great day. Goodbye.